All right, this is Mr. McMurray, and we are here at the Monstrous and Heroic Vector Worksheet. How exciting! We will get to see superheroes up close and at work. Wow, just so exciting. All right, anyhow, moving on. This is Swamp Thing. We're going to start with Swamp Thing here, and his main problem is they made movies about him long before they had CGI, so that didn't fare very well, but anyhow. All right, here we go. We have a river flowing this way. All right. And over here is the Swamp Thing. That's not a very good Swamp Thing. Okay, yeah, okay, but anyhow, he is kind of a mess. He's not really shaped real good. All right, that is him. Over here on the other side is a young girl who needs rescuing, apparently, of some sort. I don't know why. All right, here's the other hand. And she's going to wear a dress because that way I don't have to draw knees, because I always tend to draw knees the wrong way. So, according to this, he's trying to swim across the river. So he's trying to go across the river here. Okay. Now we're going to still draw our vectors, but we can just sketch them. We don't have to do them according to scale, but you do need to draw a picture for each of these. Okay. And so he's kind of swim across. But as he swims across, the river flows downstream. And so it carries him this way. All right. And it tells us that that is at an angle. Let me draw a resultant here real quick. All right, our resultant, and it carries them at an angle of 60 degrees. So this angle right here we do know is, in fact, 60 degrees. All right, and we know that he travels the resultant distance, which would be our hypotenuse here, is 25 meters. All right. So now we need to find, the first thing we want to know, how far away from the girl is he now? So he's trying to swim this way, but the river pulls him down. So he ends up going like this, okay? And so he's right here now. X marks the spot, all right? Whoops. Can't do an X if you don't have a marker. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's the spot. So he's here. Now the question is, how far is he from the girl? That would be this side of the thing, which is the O for opposite. This side up here is the A for adjacent. It's touching the angle, whereas this one's opposite. And this, of course, is the hypotenuse. All right, so the hypotenuse is right there. Now, what we need to find is how far away is the girl, so we need to find the opposite side, all right? And I didn't write it down, but I'll type it in here real quick. It's on your paper. So, Toa. All right, first of all, we know the angle. So the question is, we'll be using sine, cosine, or tangent, or we'll be using the inverse. Well, since we know the angle, we can go ahead and either use sine, cosine, or tangent, either one of those. All right, once you know the angle. Now, we know the hypotenuse, so that means we're going to have to use one of these clues over here that has a h in it. So this one has an h, and this one, sine and cosine, both have an h involved. But we're trying to find the opposite. Well, cosine does not tell us anything about the opposite, so we are going to use sine. All right, so our formula is sine of our angle, which is 60, all right, oops, is equal to, according to our formula down here, the opposite, which we don't know what that is, x, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 25 meters. All right. Now to solve that one, we're going to multiply both sides by 25 meters to get rid of the denominator. So multiply this side by 25 and that one by 25, and we end up with, I'm going to reverse it, but x is equal to sine, I should just do S-I-N, I don't know why I wrote sine out the first time, but sine 60 times 25 meters. All right, and if you calculate that on your calculator, you will get something around 21 point something, I believe, but let me double check. All right, so you have sine of 60 times 25, and you do, in fact, get 21.6506, whatever. Okay, now, We only need the same number of sig digs, and 60.0 had 3 sig digs, and 25 had 2, so the least number is 2. So we can round this. We've got 21.6. We could round that to 2 sig digs and make that 22, and then the units would still be, the only sign does not have a unit, it's just a ratio, and then it would be meters. So 22 meters would be how far the opposite side is here. Now, second part is how far is it across the river? Well, that would be this line here. That would be the adjacent. Okay. Well, we know this one has the adjacent and it has the hypotenuse. Now, you could also use this one, tangent, which has opposite, which we just discovered, and adjacent. But since we had to round to get this number, I would not use it. I would use the number that gave you the original measurement, because that will give you the more precise or correctly precise measurement. All right. So how far is it across the river? Well, this is going to be cosine this time. We still have the angle, so we can do cosine. Oops. Move this back up here a little bit. All right. Cosine of 60, all right, is equal to the adjacent, which we don't know what it is. So I'm going to say x, divided by the hypotenuse, which is, once again, 25 meters. Now, just like before, we're going to multiply 25 times both sides. I'm not going to type that up because I've already typed it up above. And so if we do cosine of 60 times 25 meters, we get 12.5. Okay, but once again, 25 has 2 sig digs, 60.0 had 3. All right, and so 2 sig digs, we would round this once again to 12.5, would round to 13 kilometers. Meters. Try that again. Okay, 13 meters. All right, and that's kind of how that would give you the answer for the first two. All right, now I would like to take you to another example further down the page, and we will do that one, at least show you how to set it up, and then you can take it from there. All right, this is Godzilla. Whew. All right, Godzilla's on a rampage at the airport. One more reason not to fly these days. All right, it says your plane must reach an altitude of 85 feet to safely clear Godzilla's reach. Fortunately, he has really small forearms. Not as bad as a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but almost as bad. All right, and so he can't really reach very high. It says, if your plane takes off at an angle of 30 degrees, how far must your plane travel in the air until it reaches a safe height? Well, let's diagram this. Okay, well, the first thing we know the measurement of how tall, whoops, that's not a very straight line. Let me try that again. All right, how tall Godzilla is, and we know that that is 85 feet. All right, so that is exactly 85 feet. Now, we know our plane is off over here somewhere. All right, and so I'm going to draw a fuselage with a tail on the end of it. Oops, looks kind of like a piece of candy there. Okay, and we'll have a wing coming out that side and a wing coming out this side. Yeah, not a perfect, but that's our plane, all right? And it's going to have to fly over Godzilla and get up at least 85 feet up in the air. Okay, then the third side of our triangle would just be this straight line across the ground here. All right, and so the angle that we're talking about would be right here, the end we're starting at, and so that's going to be 30 degrees, 30.0 technically, so it's 3 sig digs, but there you go. And we know he's 85 feet tall. Now, the question is, first one says, how far must your plane travel? Well, let's label our sides. This is the opposite. This is the dotted one, so it's going to be our hypotenuse. And down here on the bottom is our adjacent, or A, B, J. That wasn't real good, but it worked. Okay, so we have these sides. Now, the question is, which side is the plane going to travel, this way or this way? Well, to get the safe height, it's going to have to go this way. You go this way, you're just going to stub Godzilla's toe, and that's just going to make him mad. So let's not do that. Bad things happen, kind of like the Hulk when he's mad. He's also big, mean, and I think green. So, you know, there you go. Anyhow, there must be something about that green color. It makes people really irritable. Anyhow, so here we go. So we're going to go over that. So you want to find out how far it has to go. So you'll be trying to find the hypotenuse, and you have the angle. And only one side we know is the opposite. So if you're using the opposite side to find the hypotenuse, the only one that has opposite and hypotenuse is SOH. All right. Oops, so much from my O. But anyhow, So you're going to use sine and plug into that formula and solve for h, or the hypotenuse. Okay? Alrighty. Go for that. Hopefully you should have somewhere over 100, between 150 and 200 somewhere when you get your final answer for that one. Alright, and then I'll let you work the other two on your own. Notice the very end of that problem on that page says the angle changes to 45. Okay, feet tall, but the angle will change, and that means everything else will change except for Godzilla is still 85 feet tall. All right, so keep that in mind. Do these, work on your work on the Kami, or send me a picture showing your work, and you just put the answers on the Kami document. And otherwise, hope you have a great weekend. Take Monday off. Ooh, enjoy yourself. Kick back. Have a good time. All right. I know I will. See you on Tuesday, or at least you'll get to hear me.